Have you ever stopped to think that maybe your sleep problem isn't insomnia, stress, or anxiety, but a common nighttime habit that you repeat every day without even realizing it? What if I told you that there was something so normal about your nighttime routine that you never questioned it, but it was silently destroying the quality of your sleep? Something that seems harmless, automatic, almost part of the ritual before bed, but that sends completely wrong signals to your brain. The question is simple but uncomfortable. Is your sleep being harmed by a habit that you consider too normal to be dangerous? Many people believe that sleeping poorly is a consequence of a busy day, too many thoughts or accumulated problems. And of course, all of this influences. But what almost no one realizes is that the brain responds much more to repeated habits than to intentions. It doesn't matter how much you want to sleep well, if every night you teach your brain a pattern that contradicts rest. And that's exactly what this common nighttime habit does. It settles into the routine so discreetly that it goes unnoticed, while it gradually disrupts the natural rhythm of sleep. Maybe you recognize yourself in simple scenes: arriving home tired, finally having a moment of silence, throwing yourself on the bed or sofa and repeating the same behavior you always do before going to sleep. It seems like a moment of relaxation, but for the brain, it's not. For the brain, this habit does not represent rest, it represents continuity, represents stimulus, represents alert. And the more this is repeated, the more the brain learns that the night is not a space for disconnection, but just an extension of the day. The most dangerous thing about this common nighttime habit is that it does not have an immediate effect. You don't lie down and think, "This is destroying my sleep." On the contrary, you think you are relaxing, distracting yourself, slowing down. But the brain doesn't interpret it that way. He doesn't understand intent. He understands signal. And the signals this habit sends are clear. Stay awake, stay alert, keep processing information. That's why so many people go to bed tired but can't sleep. Or you sleep, but wake up several times. Or you wake up feeling like your rest wasn't enough. Over time, this pattern becomes routine. Sleeping poorly becomes normal. Waking up tired becomes part of life. The racing mind at night becomes my way of being. And no one questions the habit behind this because it is socially accepted, widely practiced, and even encouraged. Everyone does. Everyone thinks it's normal. But the human brain was not designed to deal with constant nighttime stimuli without paying a price. And this price appears in sleep, mood, energy, and mental health. Maybe you've already tried changing other things, going to bed earlier, drinking tea, listening to relaxing sounds, trying to force sleep, but nothing really works because the habit is still there, intact every night, teaching the brain to stay active. It's like trying to put out a fire without turning off the source of the fire. While the common nighttime habit remains, the brain remains confused, divided between the body's fatigue and the stimuli it receives. And that's exactly why this video is important, because before talking about solutions, before talking about changes, you need to see what is really happening. You need to identify what this habit is, how it acts on the brain, and why it has so much power over your sleep. If you've ever felt that something in your nighttime routine isn't helping, if you wake up tired without understanding why, if your mind takes a while to switch off even when your body asks for rest, stay with me until the end, because in the next part, we will delve deeper into how this common nighttime habit acts directly on the brain and why it is much more harmful than it seems at first glance. And before we move on to the next part, I want you to observe yourself for a moment. Think about your last night, what you do automatically before going to sleep, almost without realizing it, because this common nighttime habit only continues to destroy sleep precisely because it goes unnoticed. When we don't name the problem, it continues to act in silence. And maybe just hearing this now, you're starting to connect dots that didn't make sense before. If any part of this video has already described your routine, I really want to know. Write something simple here in the comments like, "This happens to me, I identified with it," or "I had never thought about that." Your comment is important because it shows that this issue needs to be talked about and helps this video reach other people who are experiencing the same problem without understanding the cause. Sometimes someone reads a comment and realizes that they are not alone, that it is not a lack of discipline or willpower. If this content is opening your eyes, leave a like now. The like is not just support for the channel. It is a signal to the platform RMA that this topic is relevant, that more people need to reflect on nighttime habits and sleep quality. A simple click can make this video reach someone who wakes up tired every day thinking this is normal. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, Subscribe now. Here we talk about sleep, the brain, invisible habits, and everything that interferes with rest without you realizing it. By subscribing, you guarantee that you won't miss the next videos, where we will reveal what this common nighttime habit is, how it tricks the brain, and what starts to change when you truly understand it. So comment, like, and subscribe, because now that you've realized that perhaps there is a habit sabotaging your sleep every night, the next step is to understand exactly how it works and why your brain reacts the way it does when the night arrives. But rest doesn't come. The body tries to rest, but the brain understands this habit as a warning sign. And this happens because the human brain does not work by intention. It works by repetition. Everything you do every night teaches your brain something, even if you never stop to think about it. This common nighttime habit, which seems harmless and even relaxing, ends up sending completely confusing messages to your nervous system. While the body asks for a break, the brain receives stimulation. While your biological clock tries to slow down, the environment you create tells you exactly the opposite. The brain has a very sensitive internal clock, responsible for organizing the sleep and wake cycle. This clock does not look at the clock on the wall. It is guided by external signs: light, activity, stimulus, repetition of behaviors. When this habit always happens at the same time of night, the brain learns to associate that moment with continuity, not with the end of the day. It's as if you're telling him every night, "It's not time to shut down yet. Keep working." Over time, this directly interferes with natural rest signals. The brain should start to slow down, reduce the level of attention, prepare the body to enter deeper states of rest. But this nighttime habit interrupts this process. It keeps areas of the brain active, stimulates thoughts, activates emotions, and prolongs the state of vigilance. Even when you feel tired, there is a part of the mind that remains switched on, observing, reacting, waiting for something to happen. This is exactly why difficulty falling asleep appears. You lie down, close your eyes, but your mind continues to work. Thoughts come uninvited, images flash through your head, memories of the day return. External silence is not accompanied by internal silence. The brain is still processing stimuli because it was taught to do so at that time. It's not insomnia in the classic sense. It's a brain that hasn't been given clear permission to shut down. When sleep finally comes, it is rarely deep. Rest becomes light, fragmented. Small stimuli wake you up. Any change in the environment is enough to jolt you out of sleep. This happens because the brain has not fully entered rest mode. He remains in a state of partial attention, as if he needed to be available. The result is waking up several times during the night or waking up in the morning feeling like you slept but didn't rest. The mind that doesn't slow down at night takes its toll during the day. Lack of focus, difficulty concentrating, and mental fatigue begin to become common. The brain tries to compensate for the poor night's sleep, but to no avail. And at night, the cycle repeats itself. The more tired you are, the more this habit seems like a way to relax. But in practice, it keeps the brain stuck in a constant stimulus pattern. The most dangerous thing is that this process happens silently. There is no clear warning saying something is wrong. The habit is socially accepted, widely practiced, and reinforced in modern everyday life. Everyone does it, so it seems normal. But the brain does not adapt without cost. He even learns to function like this, but starts to operate in survival mode. He learns to sleep poorly, to rest little, to always be alert. Over time, the person begins to believe that this is their normal, that it was always difficult to sleep, that you always woke up tired, that your mind was always racing, and you don't realize that this was built little by little, night after night, habit after habit. The brain has been conditioned to associate that time of night with stimulation, not rest. And everything that is conditioned can be questioned, but first it needs to be understood. Maybe now you're starting to see your nighttime routine with new eyes. Perhaps you are remembering behaviors that are repeated almost automatically. This does not mean guilt, it means conscience. The brain responds to what you receive. He doesn't judge, doesn't criticize, doesn't compare. He just learns. And when you learn wrong, you suffer the consequences along with you. If that made sense, comment here at the end of phrases like, "My mind doesn't slow down," "I sleep but I don't rest," or "This explains my sleep." You can also comment just "night habit" or "I identify me." These comments help this content reach more people who are living exactly this cycle without realizing it, and strengthen this conversation that needs to continue. Because from here, the next step is to understand how this habit affects the next day and why tiredness goes far beyond the night. When this nighttime habit continues to repeat itself, the effects stop appearing just at bedtime and start to dominate the entire day. The first feeling is almost always the same: waking up tired. It doesn't matter if you spent 7, 8, or even 9 hours in bed. Waking up comes heavy, as if sleep hadn't done its job. The body gets up, but the mind takes a while to follow. It's as if the brain is still stuck from the night before, trying to reorganize itself after a rest that was never complete. This morning, tiredness is not laziness. It is not a lack of willpower. It is a clear sign that the brain was unable to switch off when it needed to. Throughout the morning, the lack of energy begins to mix with difficulty focusing. Thinking requires effort. Keeping your attention on simple tasks becomes tiring. The mind is easily distracted, jumping from one thought to another as if it were always searching for something. This happens because the brain has not had enough time to restore its basic functions during sleep. He spent the night on partial alert and, during the day, tries to function at his limit. The consequence is a constant state of mental exhaustion that many people confuse with a lack of motivation or overwork. As the hours go by, this wear and tear accumulates. Energy fluctuates, mood changes easily, and patience wanes. Small problems seem bigger than they really are. The tired brain loses emotional efficiency. He reacts faster to stress, tolerates less frustration, and goes into defensive mode easily. This is where silent anxiety arises. Not that intense and obvious anxiety, but a constant restlessness, an internal tightness that is difficult to explain, a feeling of always being late, even when there is no reason. This silent anxiety feeds on the very habit that destroys sleep, because the brain learns that there is never a real moment to pause. If at night he needs to remain alert, during the day he maintains this pattern. The body stops, but the mind doesn't relax. Even in moments of rest, something inside continues to accelerate. The person sits to relax but is unable to enjoy it. You are always thinking about the next step, the next task, the next demand. That's not personality, that's conditioning. The most dangerous thing is that this state begins to seem normal. Waking up tired becomes routine. Lack of energy becomes part of our identity. The accelerated mind becomes my way of being. Few people stop to question when this started or why it continues. And almost no one connects these symptoms to the common nighttime habit that happens every day, because he doesn't look serious. It doesn't hurt. He doesn't warn. It just works night after night, teaching the brain to never completely shut down. Over time, the brain begins to operate in survival mode. He adapts to little rest, but this comes at a high cost. Mental clarity decreases, pleasure in small things disappears, enthusiasm for routine drops. Life goes on, but with less presence. Everything requires more effort. Everything gets tired faster. And the more tired you are, the harder it seems to change anything. It is a silent but very powerful cycle, which is sustained precisely because it is invisible. Perhaps you are now realizing that many things in your everyday life make more sense. The difficulty in waking up, the lack of focus, the constant anxiety, the tiredness that doesn't go away. None of this came out of nowhere. None of this is weakness. It's the direct result of a brain that has been trained, little by little, to ignore its own resting signals. And as long as this nocturnal habit continues to exist without being questioned, the brain will continue to work like this, because it believes that this is the pattern necessary to survive. Bringing awareness to this is not about guilt. It is about awakening. It's about realizing that the problem is not simply sleeping little, but sleeping poorly. It's not a lack of sleep. It's a daily habit teaching your brain to never shut down. And when you start to see this, something changes internally. You start to observe your behaviors, your nights, your days more clearly. Not to change everything at once, but to understand what is really happening. If you identify with this routine, comment below on phrases like, "I wake up tired every day," "days," "my mind never rests," or "this describes my life." If you want something shorter, just comment, "wake up," or "tired sleep." These comments are important to show that this topic needs to be talked about and help this video reach more people who are living exactly this cycle without realizing it. Because from here, the next step is to delve deeper into how to break this pattern and what starts to change when the brain finally understands that it can truly rest. If you identified with everything that was said here, If at any point you felt that this video was describing exactly your routine, then this is the time to subscribe to the channel. Signing up is not just to support, it is to continue this journey of awareness about sleep, the brain, and invisible habits that are affecting your energy and quality of life. In the next videos, we'll delve deeper into how to break this cycle and what really starts to change when you teach your brain to turn off again. If you made it to the end, I want your participation now. Comment below the phrase, "I arrived until the end," or "I identified myself." If you want, also write down which part spoke to you the most. The tiredness when you wake up, the lack of focus during the day, or the mind that doesn't slow down at night. These comments are very important because they help this content reach more people who are experiencing exactly this without realizing it. Don't forget to leave a like. A like is a simple but powerful sign that this type of content makes sense to you. It helps the video be delivered to more people who need to understand that it's not a lack of sleep, but a daily habit sabotaging rest. And before leaving, watch the next video that appears on the screen. It is a direct continuation of this topic and will help you take the next step after this awakening. Stay with me, because taking care of your sleep means taking care of your brain and your life.